Hola, amigos! Brad, the Big Noise Evans here with you. Senior Fun Buns, Brandon Funston, live from the BetMGM new casino just outside of it, and Phoenix, Arizona, actually specifically Glendale, where he is melting at the current moment in time.
Truth.
I just watched you on Live in the Line. I could tell you were pooling up in all the wrong places.
No lie. The producer afterwards says, "Hey, you got a dark shirt, maybe blue or black shirt?" Because I'm wearing like this light shirt, and I told the guy that Cam, on the show. I'm like, he had a black shirt on. I was like, oh man, that was smart, because I was looking down, I was seeing the pooling up in the wrong places that you were talking about. It's hot out here, man.
It's hot. I lived in the Phoenix area for 4.5 years, and I remember how sick of the heat I was come this time of year, and it lasted all the way until early October, and I said, just end me now, which by the way, I attempted to do. This is my first voyage back from a horrific bike accident. My Olympic career as a bicyclist is over. It's done. I'm never going to make the team. I have velodrome nightmares right now. It was bad news, but the fact that I'm here, thankfully I'm upright and in one piece, and we're back, baby. Pay the noise. You used to hear us on a certain radio station. We are no longer on that station, but thanks to our friends, our partners at BetMGM, we have resuscitated this wayward show, and we're going to go game by game, including tonight's opener here in a minute. Break it all down from a player prop perspective, and weave in some of your fantasy and betting questions as well. And you see right there on your screen. Hit us up and submit those via Facebook at Yahoo Noise, Twitch at Big Noise 78, or on YouTube. Yes, we have a YouTube channel right now at Fade the Noise. If you're watching this on Twitter, because of the StreamYard technology that I don't understand, I can't take your questions. But those other three platforms, we most certainly can. So without further ado, we got opening night tonight. It's not in Arizona, it's in Los Angeles, as the Rams, the defending Super Bowl champs, are hosting the Buffalo Bills. And currently at BetMGM, this is what the line looks like. We saw a little bit of movement last night. I saw it drop down to 52. It's back up to 52.5 Fun Buns, with Buffalo laying 2.5. What's your general feel here? Give me a game score prediction. Show me your huevos, hombre. What do you got?
Dude, I think the public is getting a little drunk on the silly sauce with Buffalo. Yeah, sure, they are the Super Bowl favorites. They're not going to go undefeated. And I don't think they're going to go out in week one against the Super Bowl defending champions who, oh, by the way, added Bobby Wagner, added Allen Robinson, have Cam Akers an off season to get further better. I don't think they're going to go into Los Angeles and beat them by more than 2.5. I actually think the Rams are going to win. I would play the money line at plus 110 on this in favor of the defending Super Bowl champions. And I it's moving up. The line, the overall total is moving up to 52.5. It was at 51.5. I'm not sure if it started any lower than that, but I generally lean the over. My game score prediction is 30-27. Probably wouldn't touch the over total. It could be 27-24. I think it's going to be a close game, but I'm going to give the Rams a field goal victory.
I'm taking the under. I think this line's a little too beefy for week number one. I think there will be some scoring. I mean, these offenses are dynamite electric. There's no question about it. But I say Matt Gay wins this sucker in the waning moments. 24-23 LA Rams, because everybody with a great grandmother, at least according to BetMGM, 68% of the handle right now on the Buffalo Bills, 66% of the handle right now on the over. And I'm feeding both narratives. Going against
you want something to tickle your fancy? How about a Rams to win by 1 to 6 points plus 325? Because I think that's absolutely going to happen. I really feel like there's going to be a close Rams win. I love that plus 325 on a 1 to 6 point win.
All right. I like that quite a bit. And Funston, I know you can't hear this, and hopefully our audience will. You know what that is? Daddy want, daddy need, daddy gotta have it. It's sledgehammer worthy. That's right. I hope you all can hear that, because I have no freaking clue. This is my very first show on this platform, so hopefully my touch screen and all that, I can hear it. It works fine for me.
I've heard it so many times, but my brain just plays it in my head, and I hear it.
If not, I could mimic the sounds myself. Yeah, it's sledgehammer worthy. I think the Rams could take this thing by single digits, or the Bills potentially by single digits, or you just wager on the outcome, either Bills or Rams to win by single digits at BetMGM right now and get fabulous odds. By the way, if you are tuning into this, maybe you have never bet on sports before. You should do it right now at BetMGM. Bet on games, props, and more right there on that site. And use the promo code NOISE, NOISE, to get your risk-free $1,000 bet upon sign-up right now. Up to $1,000 on that risk-free bet. So NOISE is the promo code to access that. All right, let's get after with some of these over-unders on this game. I got 3 of them. And to be honest with you, I have a hell of a lot more. And we'll weave in some more of those in a makeshift bonus time here in a minute. But tell me what you like on this prop. You're just on Live on the Line, which I normally am on, but I haven't been on for weeks because my head was disheveled. And I will be back eventually. I posted this. I liked it. You made the comment, oh, of course, Brad took something on a rush yards prop for a quarterback, which is very fitting. And you did the same on Stafford, mind you, a little bit later on. But what's your gut feeling here on the 35.5 rush yards, minus 115 on the under, just minus 110 right now at BetMGM on the over?
Yeah, I followed you on the show. You said 35.5. You took the over, and I'm with you. And I just looked at the last 3 week 1 games for Josh Allen: 44 rushing yards, 37 rushing yards, 58 rushing yards, and his rush attempts is 6.5, which I might like a little bit more. It's at minus 120 on the over, but he's gone for 9, 14, and 10 rushes in week 1. He's got this pent up energy. He's ready to go. And you got Aaron Donald and Leonard Floyd breathing down your neck. It's going to happen.
Yeah, he averaged 44.9 rush yards per game last season on 7.2 rush attempts per game. And early bonus time, Brandon. It's 6.5 of the rush attempts prop for Josh Allen. So you have to, correlate, synergize, bring it all together. I think he's going to run at least 7 times. And on those 7 rush attempts, it's going to be north of the 36-yard mark, which is necessary to cash his bet. So I'm with you on that one. I know PFF really gets after the quarterback rankings and the defensive line rankings well. They have the LA Rams number 1 because of Aaron Donald. But Josh Allen is undeterred. He takes a lick and it keeps on ticking because he's a big-bodied quarterback and he loves to run. And I think he's going to be, around that 700-yard mark again. Look, if Carson Wentz can do this, which he did last year against this Rams front, so will Josh Allen in the opener. All right, let's go to prop number 2. A guy a lot of people are curious about right now in fantasy land in particular, because he had the soft tissue issues, coming back off that devastating Achilles injury, remarkably so last year. It seems like a low number. It's 44.5 rush yards right now at BetMGM, minus 110 on the under, minus 115 on the over. If you have a lean, what is it on Cam Akers?
My lean is he's in the 35 to 43 to 44 rushing yard range. This is one, it's hard for me on Cam. He looked so bad coming back from that Achilles injury last year. And we know that was a tough deal to come back from. It was going to take some time. We haven't seen anybody at the running back position ever really successfully come all the way back. Now, Cam Akers says, just wait and see. You'll see. I'll be ready to roll. If I'm being honest, I'm not touching this one. I'm in the complete watch and see mode on Cam Akers. But if I was forced to make one, I would go with the slight lean on the under.
Oh, man, that's a really good number. I'm not touching it, to be honest with you. But if I had a lean, I'll go over. Why the hell not? 45 yards. Give me that half yarder. I'll buy it for an extra $1. It's 12.5 rush attempts for him. I think he gets 13 plus in this game. I think he's on 13, 14 attempts. I think it's going to be a full-blown RBBC, but it's going to be 60-40 split favoring Akers here in the end. And another early bonus time selection. I do love the over, which I featured on Live on the Line. 13.5 receiving yards available at BetMGM right now. I need one wheel route. That's it. Mm-hmm. Give me a wheel route for 15 yards. We cash a ticket.
I feel better on the receiving than I do the rushing for sure.
Well, he averaged 14.2 routes per game in the 5 games that he returned in last year. So he was heavily active in that category of a superior pass catcher, in my estimation, than Darrell Henderson. All right, last one that we're going to get to the first round of some of your questions here. Over under Gabe Davis, 55.5. It's down to right now. Receiving yards, minus 110 on the under, minus 115 on the over at BetMGM. What are your thoughts?
Oh man, I'll tell you what I would bet on Gabe Davis is the anytime touchdown at plus 150. Because I think Gabe Davis is a 12 to 15 touchdown player in this offense as a number 2 guy. The receiving yards, I think it's pretty close to the number. But Stephon Diggs getting some Jalen Ramsey attention. I think that's going to be something, being the number 2 to Stephon Diggs and drawing that attention away. I think he's going to regularly hit the over on this. So why not? Let's just say over in game 1 for him as well.
Oh, definitely over. And I think he's going to get one of those touchdowns as well. Little signal in his general direction. Because anytime, and you're getting a plus money right now. It's plus 135 at BetMGM for an anytime touchdown on Davis. He was top 10 at ADOT last year. He's a big play receiver. Could get some of those chunk gains, but also has a prominent job inside the red zone. He was number 14 in red zone targets in total last season. And he's going up against David Long in coverage, who gave up a 65.1 catch rate and close to 100 passer rating a season ago. So, you pull all that together, the attention of Diggs is going to draw a whole lot of Jalen Ramsey there. And knowing the incredible offseason that Davis had, coming off that incredible postseason that he had, it's a low number. I think he gets there with relative ease. Hell, it could be by halftime. I'll take it. I'll take it all day long. All right, this is Fade the Noise. We are back and riding again. We're going to be here every single Thursday for your liking or disliking. If you tuned into the show, the 2.02 that used to tune into the show regularly, welcome back. But we'll probably have a static time because Funston is on the road, because I have doctor's appointments still stacked up. We had to go a little bit earlier to try to go around 2 Central Time, 3 Eastern on those Thursdays, and answering your questions in the process. And those questions, again, you can submit via 3 ways: Facebook at Yahoo Noise, Twitch at Big Noise 78, or YouTube at Fade the Noise. Brand new channel I created. The Fade 5 podcast, which ran earlier today in video form too, is also part of that YouTube channel. So we're getting a ton of questions right now. Let's go ahead and hop into it. It's from Peter Smalls, or Somali, excuse me. Full point PPR, Bateman, Penny, or your boy, the baller, Darren Waller, who was listed as questionable, but looks like he's going to go.
I might go. Man, this is tough. This is good, though. I need to start getting some of these, get some exercise on some of these.
The juice is flowing, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's coming down to Bateman or Penny for me. You know what? The way Penny finished off, I think he'll get a little bit of help in the PPR, give you a little bit of help in the PPR. He won't be completely a non-factor there, but I'm going to go with those guaranteed touches in Penny. I want to say Bateman, but it's the first game of him being the true number 1 guy there. And, I kind of want to see that, even though it's a pretty delightful matchup against the Jets. So it's between Penny or Bateman for me. I'm going to lean Penny.
Guaranteed volume. And It's something that you're going to hear often here on the program. It's got to be Penny. Without Walker in uniform, I know it's the Broncos, it's the Russell Wilson Bowl, all that, but 20-plus touches, conceivable for him in a game that the Seahawks are going to lose maybe by 1,000 points. Sorry, Brandon. Moving on. Tommy says Devontae Smith, CEH, another Rashad Penny, or Nyheim Hines, who's gained some momentum here. As a change of pace guy to Jonathan Taylor with the Colts. PPR flex. Who do you got?
Yeah, I think we're just saying the same conversation over again. We're just dressing up the guys around Rashad Penny a little differently, but it's still the standout reason is the guaranteed volume here. And CEH, I don't know if it's guaranteed volume, is it? It's hard to say. Jerick McKinnon will get mixed in there a little bit. Isaiah Pacheco was everybody's favorite helium rookie.
Oh, God. Erotic thoughts about Isaiah Pacheco.
They might want to get him cut his teeth a little bit. But I think the guy that's going to touch the ball the most in this group is going to be Rashad Penny.
All right. It's Penny for me. No doubt about it. Let's go to TJ. Another Rashad Bateman question, or Amon Ra. And now hang on a second. I got the sounder. Here it is. Ra. Woo. Oh,
Okay.
no romance. I have no idea if anybody can hear that, but I can. All right, so what do you got? You going Amon Ra? I'm going Amon Ra. I cannot hear you, by the way, at this current moment in time, Funston. Can you hear me? Maybe I can hear myself. All right, Brandon's working on his connection. He was a mime temporarily. As I said, we're working through some of the technological, hoops that we're jumping through here. Hopefully, we're going to get this all ironed out in time for week number 2. But Bateman or Amon-Ra St. Brown, for me in a PPR, it's got to be Amon-Ra St. Brown. It's not remotely close. You look at the Lions, they should be much improved, but this is a guy that was locked into a vigorous target share. I expect more of the same today or Sunday. It could be another, 7, 8 catches for him, unlike with Bateman, who's working his way back. And, there are some serious doubts, some reservations some people should have when it comes to the Baltimore Ravens offense, and especially at the ground game right now. So maybe it'll be more of a vertical attack against the Jets. But for me, in a points per reception league, it's got to be Amon-Ra St. Brown. All right. I got another question here. Steven says, a longtime listener, believe it or not, we appreciate that. Going back to the days of Tom Brady's and bearded ladies, which has been quite a while since I've heard that. What's your take on ETN this week? Well, Travis Etienne, folks, I can tell you, is somebody I've already wagered on. His receiving yards prop opened at 19.5, and I thought it was absurd. Yes, I know that James Robinson is back. We're going to talk about this a little bit later on. But, Robinson, much like Cam Akers, coming off a nasty, gnarly Achilles injury. He's going to be worked into the rotation. I wouldn't expect him to see any more than maybe 7, 8 touches in the opener. And knowing that Washington gave up 84 receptions, 9 guys topped the necessary prop and 21.5 earlier. I think ETN may not do a whole lot of damage on the ground, but as a receiving back with the Jacksonville Jaguars, he is definitely somebody worth keeping an eye on. What are your thoughts on Travis Etienne there, Fun Buns? Uh-oh. I think he's frozen. Oh. Brandon, can you hear me? No, I cannot hear you at this current moment in time. Apparently you can hear me. So now we've got, all kinds of issues going on right now. Hang on a second. I've got a plan. Hold on. Keep talking. Tell the people of America about your feelings on Travis Etienne. And I still don't hear him.
Hello.
All right. We got some flies in the ointment. We got some ghosts in the machine currently. Brandon has vacated the premises. And as a result, I am flying solo right now. And as you can tell, this skin was designed for a dual broadcast, and I am now a broadcaster of one. But I do appreciate the commentary there, Steven, all over Travis Etienne this week. I think he's, a fringy RB2 in 12-team and deeper leagues. Let's go to Ezekiel Velasquez right now. Brandon is back. Let's try him again. Brandon, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I cannot hear you. Can you hear me? Okay, Brandon can hear me. So here's what we're going to do. I cannot hear Brandon. So we're going to do, start and stop talking. I will not talk when Brandon's lips are moving. I have no idea what the hell he's saying. He could call me a freaking idiot, and I'd have no, reservations about it whatsoever. No doubts about it. And that's fine. Lance or Dak in PPR? Who are you going to go with? And I'm going to attempt to read your lips.
All right. Well, first of all, why are we saying PPR? That doesn't matter for a quarterback. So I am honestly leaning towards Trey Lance in this one. Just love the rushing yards. Love that this is against Chicago, who has done everything they can to be a little bit worse this year than they were last year, maybe playing for the future. But I do like the matchup. I think Trey Lance is going to run an awful lot. And Dallas at home against that stout Tampa Bay defense. Give me the second-year quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers.
Yes, and I actually hear you. Hallelujah. Oh. We're cured. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
It's a miracle. It really is.
Wow.
I can hear you. I'm going to go with Trey Lance by a nose. Barely. And we're going to go with a Trey Lance a little bit more right now because we got to go game by game, Funston, to give you our thoughts on some of the player props that are out there. Let's go to this game. And Trey Lance at BetMGM right now. Again, use that promo code NOISE to get your sign-up bonus today. It's 38.5 rush yards, minus 115 either direction. If you had a lean, and this line opened at 33.5. So it's really starting to creep up to that 40 line. I would play this up to 39, so you know where I stand. You can stand with me and take the over.
Yeah, I am going to take the over on this. This guy is like Jalen Hurts. They're going to run a similar conservative offense. We've heard he's been pretty raw looking as a passer. I think they're going to lean into his rushing skills an awful lot, especially with Jimmy G now as a safety net. If he gets hurt, I think it doesn't hurt them at all to go ahead and let Trey Lance run like crazy. And you look at Jalen Hurts' rushing prop, 46.5 rushing yards. I think they need to be on a similar level. So you're actually getting a little bit of a discount on taking the over on Trey Lance's rush yards versus Jalen Hurts.
And by the way, I'm going to play a little Flesh or Fantasy because, it is mandatory Montgomery. It is, after all. And I bet under on 72.5 total yards for him, believe it or not.
Oh, wow. Wow. Maybe that fall knocked some sense into you.
Flesh! Flashball Fantasy. I still love him, but yeah, I'm just being realistic. The Bears going to be god-awful. Their team total was 4.5 wins this year, and I bet the under, believe it or not. All right, let's go to a game that's a little bit more exciting, possibly. Saints and Falcons. We'll see about Drake London and his availability. Listed as questionable right now. A lot of people are heavily invested in him as a bench wideout, but Marcus Mariota, he's a true dual threat quarterback. It's 28.5 rush yards. They opened at 26.5. And again, now up to 28.5. Where are you leaning here? Minus 115 on the over the under at BetMGM.
Is he a true dual threat? I don't know. I think his rushing yards are legit. His rushing skills are legit. His passing skills, I don't know. But it's funny. I was going through each game, picking out a player prop before I realized that you had come up with the list that we were going to talk about together. I thought I needed to do my own player prop. So when I was going through, this is what jumped out to me before I knew that you actually had already chosen this one for us to talk about. I thought the over was very nice at 28.5. This is a guy that threw 3 pass attempts last year and had like 88 rushing yards. It's like you talked about Drake London, his availability, there's no Calvin Ridley here. There's not a lot of playmakers. So this is a similar situation as, well, maybe not to Trey Lance. They have playmakers. But this is a similar situation where they want to lean in a lot into Marcus Mariota's rushing skills and keep him out of the passing game as much as they can.
Yeah, I totally agree. This is going to be a theme for me with a lot of these props. I'm over. It's a soft number of 28.5. I think he's going to approach 40 rush yards when it's all said and done. Similar to a Trey Lance, as we just featured in the last prop, 4 quarterbacks went over this last year, and Mac Jones had 28 rush yards against this defense a season ago. So Mariota will be leaning heavily on the duality, no question about it. All right, let's get in another one here. We'll go one more game and get some more questions. Jamar Chase, 74.5 receiving yards against the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was under in both games last year, Brandon. It's going to be more of the same third time around.
Yeah, he was under in both games because the Bengals absolutely housed the Steelers in both games. They blew them out. And I don't think the Steelers are better right now. I mean, Mitch Trubisky's first game, questions on that offensive line still. I'm down on Najee Harris for the same reason.
Yeah.
But I think I'm down on Jamar Chase because it's a pretty big number, and I think they'll use a decent amount of Joe Mixon, and they'll use other guys, and I don't think they're going to have to throw the ball a ton. So give me the under on this.
Yeah, if I had a lean to be under, I'm not touching it, to be honest with you. And Levi Wallace is now a member of this secondary of the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's awfully good in coverage last season for the Buffalo Bills, an 82.2 passer rating allowed and just a 58 flat catch rate surrendered as well. So, yeah, it could be more Joe Mixon in this game than Jamar Chase. All right, how about another rush yards prop, another quarterback? Jalen Hurts. It hurts so good. Come on, Jalen, make it hurt so good. 46.5 rush yards at minus 115. Either direction, by the way, on that at BetMGM. Your thoughts here?
My lean is slightly under. I think he should be closer to Trey Lance, maybe in the low 40s. Nothing really solid to say why, because Jalen Hurts can go over this number against anybody. It's just capable. You don't know how plays are going to break down and something opens up and he's gone. But I just feel like, I think Philly wins this game. They can kind of manage it a little better. I don't think it's going to be, playground time for Jalen Hurts. I think they can win in sort of a more structured environment. So I think he'll get somewhere, in the 30 to low 40s. I don't think he'll go over this number.
It's a good number. And frankly, the way I played it, I did a same game parlay. So I took it down to 35 or more rush yards. I took Amon-Ra St. Brown with 5+ receptions, and I think I got that at like plus 105. And I felt like that was the appropriate play there. And just one other thing to take away, when you guys are doing one-game parlays at BetMGM, don't go full Calvin Ridley. You don't need 7 legs. Go with like a 2-gamer. Go with a 3-gamer. 2 or 3 legs and make it more realistic. Yeah, you're not going to get rich quick off of it, but you're trying to build the bankroll because you're running a marathon and not a sprint. It's week 1, for crying out loud. All right, let's get to some of your questions. Again, we are sorry for the audio issues that we had earlier, but we are back. And you can get a hold of us in 3 different ways. And I'm going to show those to you right now. Facebook, Yahoo Noise, Twitch, Big Noise 78, or on YouTube at Fade the Noise is the handle there. So let's go ahead and answer some of your comments right now. And we have one from Tommy. I think we already answered that one earlier. Chris says, hey, Brad. Hey, Corey. Not Chris. Corey, what's going on? PPR last bench spot to play with. Add Nico Collins, Wan'Dale Robinson, Osborne, Pierce, the rookie out of Indianapolis, Rashad White, Zamir White, or Isaiah Pacheco. So out of that group, who makes the cut for his last bench spot?
Yeah, real world problems and a lot of youngsters here. I'll tell you what. I'm going to go with one of about 2 rookies I think are worthwhile starts in week 1. I'm going to go with Alec Pierce going up Colts against the Houston Texans. I love the matchup. I also love Alec Pierce is running as the number 2 option in this passing game, might be where he's going to sit all year. He's still not going in deeper 12-team fantasy drafts, and I think he is one of those great last-round stashes, but I don't think you need to stash him. I think he's worthwhile in week 1. He's who I would go with here.
Yeah, I'm really torn between a couple of guys. Honestly, I'm going to chase the upside of a backup running back that could get elevated into an ideal situation. That's Rashad White, who opens as the clear-cut number 2 back in Tampa Bay to Leonard Fournette. And he's got a 3-down skill set. So that's where I'm going. I'm going to try and chase the upside
I was sort of reading that as who to play in week 1. And, long-term, God, I'm a Rashad White guy.
Yeah, that's the way you got to go.
So I'm with you on that. If you're actually looking to get immediate returns on one of these guys, it would be Alec Pierce. But the long game is Rashad White for me as well.
All right, from Kanan Cash, welcome back. And he says Stafford or Derek Carr. You got to roll with Stafford and that tender elbow. You got to go with Carr, who did not have a lot of success last season against the Chargers.
Yeah, and what the Chargers do, they added like Khalil Mack and they had J.C. Jackson, and they're going to be on the road. And I actually think the Chargers have a decent shot to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. I'm going to go Matt Stafford. This one's close for me. I believe in my rankings, I have them back-to-back, and Stafford's passing yards are around 270 something. So, Vegas isn't thinking that it's going to be a terrible game for Matt Stafford, but and for that reason, I guess I'm going to go with Matt Stafford here.
Yeah, I guess it's really close between Stafford and Carr. I think I have Stafford like 1 or 2 spots ahead of Carr. That's it. But I think Carr is going to conquer some of the demons against his Chargers secondary that he experienced last year. 2 words: Devontae Adams. That's it. Of course, they didn't have a target like that to throw to a season ago. Ezekiel says, Elliott or St. Brown? Another Amon Ra question. Also at Pierce. Gracias, amigo. By the way, do you trust the Dallas D this week against the Bucs? No, not against Brady. But what do you think on the front end of that question?
I think in PPR, I'm going to go Amon Ra, St. Brown. You're going over the 5.5 catches. Why? Because he was a catch machine down the stretch last year. They're not going to have Jameson Williams for a little while. I expect them to pick up where they left off a little bit against Philadelphia. I worry about Ezekiel Elliott going up against that Tampa Bay stout defensive front. Assuming you're talking Dameon Pierce here against Indy, I like Dameon Pierce a lot. I just don't like him as much as St. Brown in week 1.
Oh, it's close. If you look at a lot of the player prop lines, they are soft on Dameon Pierce. They really are. In the 40s right now for rush yards. Receiving yards, I've seen at 12.5 combined. Do the simple math there. It's like in the low 60s. Yeah, I mean, in a PPR league, going with the go-to veteran now, and veteran, I mean, in his second year, I think it's Amon Ra, St. Brown. In a game that's got some shootout appeal against the Eagles over Dameon Pierce, who I do love, just not in particular this week. All right, one more question, and then we're going to get to more game breakdowns. Lap J says, Darrell Henderson or Mark Ingram for the season? Really? Mark Ingram? That's Henderson for me.
Yeah, you're going to have to wish cast that Alvin Kamara goes down, and we don't want that, or that he gets suspended, but it's not sounding like that's likely either. Darrell Henderson's going to have potential deep league flex appeal, even with Cam Akers. Mark Ingram's got nothing until, Alvin Kamara, something were to happen where he'd be out of the way. But I'm going to go with the guy who's got an earlier opportunity right away.
Again, this is the Faith and Always show. It's Evans. It's Funston. We're back together again, although he's roasting his fun buns right now in Arizona. I'm back at home and healthy, and thank God I am upright at this current moment in time, answering your fantasy football questions and sports betting needs as well. You can submit your questions right now via Facebook at Yahoo Noise, Twitch, Big Noise 78, or YouTube. We, of course, are presented by BetMGM. Go sign up now at BetMGM and use that promo code NOISE to get your promo at sign up today. Games, props, and more, and all of our lines, of course, are from our fine sponsor there at BetMGM. Brandon, revenge game? Are you feeling it? For Devontae Parker, yes or no? It's only 40.5. It's down now. It was 42.5 early today, so we get a 2-yard shave off the original line.
Yeah, I'm going to steal from Warren Sharp, who kind of brought up this point that Devontae Parker was one of the worst. I think he said he was the worst receiver in the league at gaining separation, and that Mac Jones was the highest quarterback in terms of throwing to receivers with the highest amount of separation. So it's a match made in hell between these two, between Devontae Parker and Mac Jones. Out of the gates in week 1, nah, I'm going to take the under on Parker. Sorry, no revenge.
Weak. I will take the over against Xavier Howard. I will roll the dice. They're going to force feed him. He's got just a little bit of motivation in the back of his head. And I say, maybe a couple of big chunk gains for Devontae Parker here, who has a chance to have a revival of sorts. He's still only 29 years old. And, I know that 2019 was ages ago and that, 1,200-yard season that he had, but Mac Jones got to throw the ball to somebody. What about Lamar Jackson? J.K. Dobbins, I don't think he's going to play in this game. We may see a whole lot of Mike Davis. on the ground, who is a sleeper in fantasy football leagues. But Lamar, who I fearlessly forecast and say is going to be 1,000-yard rusher, going to get back to that level this year. Will it start this week against the Jets? And look at the juice here, Brandon. Plus 115 on the over 64.5 rush yards.
It's on the under, is it not? Is it minus 145 on the over?
No, it's minus 145 on the under. Read it left to right. 115 on the over.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I will be seduced. I think it's a pretty good number. I actually would pick a different opponent as a more ideal, opponent to really pad your rush numbers. This could be a game that they can manage and control. Again, a lot like I took the under on Jalen Hurts, but yeah, I think it's certainly in play without J.K. Dobbins in the mix. Gus Edwards, they might lean on Lamar Jackson's legs a little bit more.
Yeah, this is very close to his average last year. It was 63.9, but he had 11.1 run attempts per game. And I think he's going to be around 11 to 13 rush attempts. I think his dynamism is going to be really leaned on in this contest. With some of the upgrades there, the talents on the Jets defense, still the Jets. They find wayward ways of losing. Joe Flacco is going to be your starting quarterback. Could be a positive game script for Lamar. And, yeah, he's going to be opportunistic, man. He's going to take off. And it's going to have those bottle rockets ignited attached to the cleats. So I'm with you. Give me the over, especially at plus money. Here is one I do not understand. And this one, I know nobody can hear this, but I'm going to play this for myself. Yeah, little sledgehammer action on the over. Travis Etienne, 21.5 receiving yards, and it's just minus 115. Brandon, we've seen a ton of line movement with this. It got as high as 24.5. It opened at 19.5. It's settling somewhere in the middle. Is it still too low?
It is way too low. I just went back and looked at his college receiving numbers as a quick glance. His last season at Clemson had 64 yards against Ohio State in the air. He had 140 receiving yards against Boston College, 114 against Virginia, another 73 against Miami. This guy is a receiver playing running back. And, by the way, his college quarterback is his quarterback now. So, yeah, there's some muscle memory there. 21.5 can happen very quick in this game for him.
Yeah, Washington gave up 84 receptions to the running back position last year. 84. So the Travis Etienne is locked on that role. I know, people are like, well, what about James Robinson? It's a miracle that he's back and he's going to be active, but how much is he really going to play? I would say probably 25% of the snaps, maybe 7-8 touches in total. That's it. The rest of it's going to be Travis Etienne. And if this is a negative game script, which is a distinct possibility because it is the Jacksonville Jaguars who are trotting out what seems like a vulnerable defense. If that does, accumulate the points for the opposition, that's great news for this prop in the over because he's going to be highly active as a receiver out of the backfield. All right.
Yeah.
Another prop that we've seen movement on at BetMGM right now is Nick Rub-a-Dub-Dub Chubb. Are you getting bottle service at the Chubb Club? 74.5 rushing yards for him in the Baker Mayfield Bowl. Minus 120 on the under, minus 110 on the over. This did open at 70.5.
He's going to be among the leaders in volume, don't you think, at the running back position in week one? Yeah, I feel like he's going to get there. It may not be pretty, but I can see it being like a 25 carry, 86 rushing yard kind of day. I don't think he's going to go gangbusters, but they're running the ball with Jacoby Brissett at quarterback. And, they were going to open things up a little bit more, but look at default to the ground game. Cleveland knows how to do that. So yeah, I think that's what we're going to see. And I think he gets over this number.
Yeah, no doubt. I think he's going to flirt with the century mark in this game. And I know Kareem Hunt is back, and Hunt's going to eat into some of that, overall opportunity share. But you figure it's going to be in a game that's probably going to have a positive game script, 65 to 80% roughly of the opportunity share going to Chubb. And Chubb last season was number 2 in yak per attempt at 4.42. Carolina gave a 4.07 yards per carry to the running back position. He was over this number in 9 of 14 contests. And, you pull all that together, you're looking at 17 to 21 rush attempts maybe in this game. So I like those odds hitting the over. By the way, I love him for an anytime touchdown. You get it right now for plus money. Plus money. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Definitely a touchdown prop. You cannot get a plus money right now. It's on Jonathan Taylor. Because I think at MGM, it's minus 200, 220 for him to score a TD. Not touching it unless it's in like a one-game parlay. What about the rush yards against the Texans? 96.5, minus 115 either direction. Brandon, I know you're going to play this card. I'll go ahead and inform the audience now. In 2 games against Houston last year, 14 for 145 and 2 scores. In the second game, he had 32 carries for $143 and 2 more touchdowns. Is it more of the same heavy dose of Jonathan Taylor in this rematch?
Well, it doesn't even have to be more of the same. It can be 40 yards less and still be over what he did last year. So for that reason, like if they push this into like the 109 range, which they did crazy things like that with Derrick Henry in the past. We used to see crazy, inside the or over 100 yards from Derrick Henry, but that's where this should be. It should be in the hundreds, should be in the low hundreds. It's not. And for that reason, give me Jonathan Taylor on the over. Yeah,
look, the advanced analytic profile was sterling for Jonathan Taylor last year. His 3.93 yak per attempt was top 10. He was number 3 in total missed tackles forced. And you're going up against Houston, which gave up over 2,000 rush yards to the running back position in 2021. So, yeah, I'm over. And honestly, if you want a same game parlay it, a little 2-legger, take Jonathan Taylor. Maybe take it down to, 75 or take it up to 100 if you want to get a little bit more juice. And then use that anytime touchdown at minus 220. So you take that little 2-legger on him, get it plus odds, and count your winnings in the end. Something to play there. Yeah, I like it quite a bit. Do you like this one? Derrick Henry, 104.5 rush yards against the G-Men and the new coaching staff.
So here's a great give me Jonathan Taylor over Derrick Henry. I'd love that bet. If you could bet Jonathan Taylor over Derrick Henry rush yards, and you get the advantage, the odds advantage of actually taking a guy that has lower total here. Because I don't think there's any way that Derrick Henry should have more rush yards than Jonathan Taylor against the Houston Texans. And I wouldn't take this. I mean, this is a guy who's 28 years old, coming off a major leg injury, who when he came back wasn't quite the same. And yes, I think he's going to be fine. But are we just going to smash spot him into 104.5 rush yards in week 1 and just assume the beast has returned fully in week 1? No, I'm taking the under on this.
Yeah, if I had a lean, it'd be under. And this is a line that's crept up. And I believe it opened at 100.5. So you got 4 yards added onto it. It may continue to grow. Who knows? I mean, the Giants are very young defensively. They have some talent here. But Henry took a little bit of a step back. He only had a 13.4% missed tackle rate, which is uncharacteristic for him. And he was outside the top 10 in yak per attempt last year. People are keen on the run. And as a result, could be, maybe a 25 carry, 97 yard type of game for him here in the end. So I'm with you, man. I would avoid him like the plague at this prop on the over at BetMGM. Again, submit your questions, all of your gaming questions, fantasy related, betting related, right now via 3 different avenues. Go to Facebook, Yahoo Noise, Twitch at Big Noise 78, or YouTube at Fade the Noise. And we're going to try to answer some of your questions right now. So getting back after it, pulling up your comments. We got a question from J-Red24. Welcome back, guys. I missed you. Well, we missed you too, J-Red. Pick 2 for PPR. Mitchell, Edmonds, or Sanders with the hammy injury. That's Miles Sanders.
Yeah, I missed you too, J-Red. So thanks for the comments on that. First of all, just put Eli Mitchell in your lineup. This is a guy who averaged 87.5 rushing yards per game in his 11 games, but had 137 yards against the Chicago Bears team a year ago as well.
That was a weak accent.
Yeah.
Chicago Bears.
Sorry, I'm like the Chicago one that's been out in Arizona too long.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Chase Edmonds. I think there's some nice PPR upside there. We'll see how much Raheem Mostert will mix in, but Sonny Michel's gone. Looking like a two-man kind of game. And Miles Sanders, they might lean on Kenneth Gainwell an awful lot because of that hammy injury. So I worry about
Boston Scott. Don't sleep hard on Boston Scott.
Yeah, he's going to at least steal some touchdowns and make Miles Sanders managers pretty upset about that during the year.
Yeah, no disagreement at all. It's Mitchell all day. Chase Edmonds as well, assuming he's going to be okay. Sanders out of the equation. Carter Kane says Rondale Moore, who is going to go, it had an undisclosed injury. Cliff Kingsbury was saying, well, it's touch and go with it. He's going to practice in full yesterday. He is A-okay. Michael Thomas, though, it's like we'll see how much he plays. We don't really know. And, of course, given a long layoff, there could be some accumulated rust there. Who do you got, Rondale or Michael Thomas? Remember, Arizona doesn't have D-Hop for the first 6 games.
Yeah, but they have Marquise Brown. They have a better replacement for him than they had last year. They still have A.J. Green. If Michael Thomas is on the field, that's been the biggest issue with Michael Thomas. It hasn't been that he's been out there and not doing well, which we saw plenty of from Rondale Moore last year. It's just been an issue of Michael Thomas being on the field. It sounds like he's going to be on the field. If he's on the field, I'm playing him over Rondale Moore.
If he's active, I'm with you. I play Michael Thomas, but I kind of like Rondale Moore. I wrote about him in Fantasy Flames this week as well, Brad.
Okay.
Could be a breakout week.
We'll see. Could be a shootout in that game too. Kansas City and Arizona. So that's a possibility as well.
Yep, definitely. Let's get a couple more in here. From Steve, Tom Brady or Matt Stafford?
We'll lean Tom Brady on this one. I think they're both fine, but give me Brady.
Yeah, slight advantage here to Tom Brady. I believe I have Brady 1 or 2 spots higher right now over Stafford in my rankings, but it's close. Tommy again says Waddle, Thielen, Allen Robinson, or T. Higgins. Pick 2. What a luxury.
Man, that's tough. I'm gonna go T. Higgins.
Thielen for one.
Going Thielen.
I am Thielen and Higgins for me.
No, I will go Higgins and Allen Robinson. I think Thielen's 4th for me. You want to talk about Thielen? He's TD dependent, and I'm assuming you think he's going to score.
I do, and it's going to be an aerial heavy attack for the Minnesota Vikings this year. And I believe they're going to put up some points this week. I really do. It's Thielen for me. So let's really see where you're at on Allen Robinson. DJ Moore for Allen Robinson.
Yeah, I ranked DJ Moore as a top 12 receiver for the season. And so I will take DJ Moore over Allen Robinson. Although without having looked at my week 1 rankings in front of me, I think Allen Robinson's, I have him pretty close behind. But give me DJ Moore. I like the number 1, the clear number 1 over the clear number 2.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's no doubt it's going to be, hey, Mr. DJ Moore over Allen Robinson. A question about your lighting situation, which I think is actually pretty good right now. So happy to see you back from Chris. I hope the recovery is going well. It is. I can still talk, and I'm somewhat functional, so thank you for that. His question, though, is Funston streaming from his garage? What is with his lighting? I think your lighting looks pretty good right now. And no, you are in a boiler currently in Arizona.
And normally I stream from my basement, which has no issue. So you guys, what you really want is for me to be back in my basement. I'm out of my basement. I am in a, I don't know what you call this, something across from the new BetMGM, sports book that they have right here out outside of Phoenix's stadium, the State Farm Stadium. So it's hot as balls, but I can't blame Arizona sun. That's all I can say.
Just hydrate, man. Slam a couple of Gatorades and then go straight to tequila and all your worries will disappear. Just trust me on that.
All right. I'm writing this down. Got that. Gatorade, Arrow, tequila. Got it.
Yes. And the good stuff, man. You got to pay up for it. Get the Clase Azul, man. You're living the high life in Arizona. You're living on the company dime right now.
That's
and
right.
Somebody's like, oh, what's a class? What is this $300 charge? Brad Evans told me to do it. And you're clear. You're good.
I love it.
All right, we are Fade the Noise here, no longer on a certain radio network. We're streaming instead, presented by BetMGM. Submit your questions right now via Facebook, Twitch, or YouTube. You see the handles there, and we got a lot of comments coming in hot and heavy as a result. So I'm going to throw another one out to you, and then we're going to get back to some over-unders. So do one more here from Dustin. ETN or Zeke Elliott?
Oh, I like the acronym there for ETN. This makes it easy. Give me ETN. I'm just go back to we love the PPR upside. Don't like Ezekiel Elliott's matchup, and he's a guy that's between the tackles, and that's not where you want to be against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Vita Vea and company. So I'm all about ETN on this one.
Again, we took the over on 21.5 receiving yards. I think he's going to get around 45 to 50 on the ground. Seems realistic. Probably 25 to 30 through the air. Get a touchdown. That's a damn good fantasy day in the end. As I mentioned, we're presented by BetMGM. Go there, sign up right now, and use that promo code NOISE today and get your sign-up bonus. Again, promo code NOISE at BetMGM. Justin Jefferson. Over under 81.5 receiving yards. Already have a ticket out on this personally, and I took the over. Are you leaning the over as well?
Yeah, and I love taking the Vikings, getting a 1.5. Kirk Cousins has beaten the Packers at home each of his last two times he's faced them at home. You talked about the change in the offense to being more aerial. I totally agree. I think Justin Jefferson is a legit contender to be the number one fantasy wide receiver in fantasy football this year. So yeah, 81.5 could be a bad game for Justin Jefferson going forward. This could be his floor most weeks. I think he'll go over this with ease.
I think he's hitting the century mark. I'm with you. I'm well over on that prop. He was wide receiver 3 last season at target share of 28.5%. And something else, I don't know if you notice it, that playerprofiler.com tracks is route win rate. And he was wide receiver 10 and just winning all of his routes. I mean, that's how good he is. And you see it on film too. He just contests and emerges victorious and then finds the open space. Got a quarterback who's very accurate in Kirk Cousins, and it gets him the football in turn. He's going up against Eric Stokes in coverage, who allowed 4 touchdowns a season ago in coverage. He's going to allow one to Justin Jefferson, this one along with the century mark effort. Also available at BetMGM, 26.5 receiving yards for James Conner against Kansas City. You mentioned it could be a shootout down there in your neck of the woods currently in the desert. Will Conner benefit from this as a pass catcher?
Yeah, we'll have to see what kind of a role Eno Benjamin's going to have. I've heard a lot of people try to say that he will be the new Chase Edmonds in this offense, but Eno's been there. I don't think there's a serious contender on this roster to really take away James Conner from being the bell cow and being the leading receiving back and rushing back. Yeah, they'll work those other guys in, but I think James Conner has a pretty secure role both in the passing and running game. I think he goes over this number because I think Arizona's going to be chasing a little bit in this game.
Dude, I'm slamming the over. Nobody can hear this, I think, but I'm just going to play Sledgehammer in my own headset. Yeah, this is a hammer for me. I've been waiting. I haven't bet on this yet because I want to do a 1-game parlay, and I want to take Conner down to 3 or 4 receptions and maybe get him at a slightly lower number than 26.5. I don't know, maybe 22.5. 23 or more, 24 or more, something like that, and put those two together and get a plus odds. That's what I'm looking at getting, because Kansas City, Brandon, if you remember last year, they allowed 109 receptions to running backs. And it's all about game flow and script.
Yeah. And if memory serves me correct, they've been really bad at allowing catches to running backs for a few years now. So I think this is just something where you can just circle. That's been an issue with this defense for a while.
Yeah, and Conner averaged 10.9 routes run per game. So he was a focal point in the offense, especially when they were chasing the scoreboard. All right, what about Vegas and the Chargers? Again, I'm really excited to watch. Derek Carr was horrendous Yardage wise in 2 games against LAC last year is going to be more of the same. 265.5 pass yards at BetMGM right now, 115 minus 115 either direction here.
Wouldn't touch this one. I think it's about right. I will say he finishes just on the light side of this, however, and I will take the under. Although, like I said, I think the number is pretty well positioned.
It is. I got it at 256.5 when it opened. I feel really good about that number. I don't feel great about 265.5. I think in truth is somewhere in the middle, around 260 or so. Now, he averaged 298.3 pass yards per game. Last season, he was top 5 in total air yards, and that was without Davante Adams. But this game should have a lot of fireworks. It's got a lot of scoring potential across the board, but yeah, maybe Carr kind of fizzles out toward the end, and maybe we'll see more Josh Jacobs than people think. I would love to see that.
That's what we're all waiting with bated breath for, right? See how Josh McDaniels operates that backfield and see, who's mixing in with Josh Jacobs, or if he's going to, go against what everybody thinks and lean on Josh Jacobs as a bell cow like he's been in the past.
All right, a couple more here. Tampa, Dallas, CD Lamb, 68.5 yards receiving for him, minus 110 on the under, minus 115 on the over. What are you feeling?
Yeah, man, he is just so much like he is up there. He should be up there for commanding target share among wide receivers, like being among the leaders in target share. So I'm not completely sweating this Tampa secondary. I like their linebackers. I love their defensive front. I think this is a little bit where you can maybe, get at them a bit. So CD Lamb, I think, will get at least into the 70s. I'll take the over.
Oh, God, slide over for me. He was wide receiver 55 in route win rate last year, but the volume's going to be there. And, Dak is a competent quarterback who's going to uncork. Speaking of a guy who's going to uncork, maybe with an end zone spike or 3, it's your Seattle Seahawks. Cortland Sutton, you know where I stand. He's scoring a TD. Do you feel the same?
God, that means Russell Wilson's going to throw. Can we make it an end around and they're going to like a halfback, can be a touchdown from Javonte Williams on a halfback pass? I'll take it. Sure. Give me the stupid over on this. This will be interesting to see play out and see what Seattle has. I'm sure you're going to see some, double high safeties, the way that the other teams used to play Russell Wilson when they would come in against Seattle. So that could hurt Cortland Sutton a little bit, but he's a big target, and Denver's getting in the red zone. It doesn't have to be a big play for Cortland Sutton to score. It can be a red zone target, and I think that's probably how he ends up scoring.
All right, we're going to rapid fire here the last about 5 minutes we have of this broadcast. Again, we're going to try to do this every single week at 3 p.m. Eastern. So stick around. We're presented by BetMGM, and sign up today. Use that promo code NOISE. End of the bench question. Cut 1, Scott, Wandale, Sky Moore, Zamir White. Who are you cutting?
Man, I like Boston Scott, but he is the third running back in that group. I think it's the hierarchy is Sanders, Gainwell, then Scott. So he could be the goal line guy, but that's not going to, you're not going to want to lean on that. So I guess I'm cutting Boston Scott, chasing upside with the other guys.
I'm cutting Zamir White, who right now I believe is 4th on the depth chart. I'm going to stick on to Boston Scott. Why? Because I love him. I can't resist him. That's just a story for me. What's the juiciest player prop? I'll give you one gamer for tonight that I got with a BetMGM boost at right around plus 200, and I'll get Brandon's thoughts on it. Devin Singletary, 30-plus rush yards. Cam Akers, 30-plus rush yards. Josh Allen, 230-plus pass yards. And Stephon Diggs, 5 or more receptions.
Yeah, I didn't love the 5.5 number on Diggs. I said he's going to get either 5 or 6. It felt like that. So once you get it down to where you can get him at 5, like you did there, I'm down with that. So yeah, I like that. I like that prop as a little, as a little combo parlay there. I would say I would go back to Elijah Mitchell's 59.5 rush yards prop as my favorite. Again, he had 137 against the Bears. The Bears have gotten worse on the defensive side, most likely. And this is a guy that averaged almost 90 yards a game rushing the ball. So Yeah, while he's healthy, you take the over on 59.5 with Elijah Mitchell.
All right. I kind of like that as well. A couple more here. Mike says, I need 2.5 point PPR. Jeremy Waddle, Mooney, or Hall?
I hate to say it, but I think you just got to double up on your Dolphins there. Give me Waddle and Hall. Who's Hall?
Brees.
Oh, Brees Hall. No, forget it. Never mind. Waddle and Mooney. Sorry. Look at this Michael Carter thing's real. And don't be surprised if Michael Carter gets 2020 Michael Carter treatment. When we were all anointing him, the Jets, backfield air, it took him a little while. He had to mess around with Tevin Coleman and Ty Johnson for a while. They're saying that Michael Carter is still the lead, and I believe him. I think they're going to lean on Michael Carter until Brees Hall, earns his way ahead of him.
Yes, and Jeremy Waddle is a twin of Jalen Waddle, who you should not invest in. Because I'm correcting myself. Yes, I'm with you. Waddle and Mooney overhaul. I got to see how that backfield shakes out with the Jets. Heather says Knox or Waller.
Give me some Chingy. I don't know if it can hear it, but I can hear it in my head. It's Waller, baby.
Waller.
Yeah,
it's got to be Waller.
Yeah, I don't care the matchup. I'm going to always default to Waller over Knox.
All right, last one from Ismail. Kittle injured because he showed up on the injury report, I believe today. He says he's not been feeling good the last couple of days. Groin issue. Is it Austin Hooper or Albert O? And I'm never going to attempt to pronounce his last name because I will butcher it. But it's Albert O to me, who, by the way, played like 40 minutes away from where I'm at in Central Illinois at a high school level, Brandon. It's Albert O.
It's Albert O for you?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Austin Hooper. The one thing about Russell Wilson is he's never been a complete, tight end maker. I mean, Jimmy Graham had some touchdown years, had his moments, but it was Jimmy Graham in his prime. And I think a lot of people would say that Jimmy Graham didn't get the most out of Jimmy Graham. Russell Wilson didn't get the most out of Jimmy Graham in his prime. So I don't know. I'm going to lean Austin Hooper as the clear guy. Got a little better path to opportunity there for him versus having to fight with Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton for targets.
All right, I lied. Real quick. Nicole says Travis Etienne or Gabe Davis tonight.
God, I think Gabe Davis is going to score a touchdown. Etienne, give me the guaranteed volume. Give me Etienne.
Yeah, it's close. It's Travis Etienne for me as well. All right, folks, we are out of time on this broadcast. If you missed it, we will pin it, and it will be available to you. Brandon, tell the good people where they can follow you right now on social media.
Yeah, at Brandon Funston on Twitter, and you can find me hanging out at The Athletic for my day job and hanging out with you otherwise. But, at Brandon Funston on Twitter.
Yep, and I'm at Noisy Huevos. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back here next Thursday at 3 Eastern time, and that should be our standard static time. So for Brandon Funston, I'm Brad Evans. Fade the Noise is back, baby. Thanks, BetMGM. Until next time, adios, amigos.